Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 scary moments caught on surveillance cameras. People use security cameras for safety reasons at their homes or businesses, but sometimes these cameras can pick up things scarier than kids stealing Cheetos. From the paranormal to real-life terrifying moments that may well be your biggest fears. Before you get too scared, subscribe and why not press the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10, we have Night at the Museum. So I'm sure we all know the Ben Stiller movie Night at the Museum. It's where after hours everything at the museum comes to life. Well, perhaps that movie has a bit of truth to it. That is because of this security tape caught at a museum after hours. The museum's surveillance guard was watching the footage when all of a sudden something strange happened. A turnstile began spinning out of nowhere as if somebody was walking through it. The turnstile then stopped spinning for a moment, but then all of a sudden a mysterious white figure can be seen running away. Now, the figure is white and see-through, which may suggest it's a ghost. It appears to be the outline of a human being, but I can't tell if it's a man or a woman. Theorists say this could definitely be a ghost, as museums are filled with skeletons, including human skeletons. And museums are filled with ancient artifacts such as Egyptian tombs, which could well be haunted. Do you think this ghost came from a skeleton or a haunted object? Or do you think it's not even a ghost and is simply an issue with the camera? That would make some sense, but how do you explain the turn cycle? The security guard was baffled and so am I, but check out the footage and let me know your thoughts on it. Next up is Shopping Tiger. So, convenience stores often have security cameras to catch criminals. This could be kids stealing candy or a serious robbery. Either way, they have a lot of cameras so the store's owners can always remember who's coming in and out of the store. Well, one day someone, or rather something, came into the store that the store owner will never forget. Out of nowhere, while there were shoppers in the store, a tiger walked in. Now, this footage is from a convenience store in an unknown country. The shoppers quickly noticed the massive tiger and run out. Meanwhile, the store's owner behind the cashier desks hides and calls 911. Just imagine having to make that phone call. I wouldn't be surprised if 911 didn't even believe him at first. Most store owners are scared of robbers and never think they'll have to encounter a tiger. Thankfully, after knocking a few things off shelves, the tiger left without harming anyone. But the tiger could have easily jumped over the cashier's desk, so the store owner was in serious danger. Really, he should have jumped over the desk and run out of the door. But who knows, that could have provoked the tiger, so maybe it's best he did what he did. It's good to know that nobody was hurt here, but still, this footage is terrifying. Next up is Haunted Hotel. One thing nobody likes at hotels is noisy guests. Well, one night in 2003 at the Wingate Hotel, many guests called the front desk complaining about screaming coming from a room. The room's number was 209, but the strange thing about this is that nobody was booked into the room. Because of this, the hotel manager expected somebody had broken in, so they sent security up to check. The security goes up to check on the door and they can clearly hear a woman screaming. The security worker John knocks on the door, but nobody answers. The screaming continues and John and his manager are incredibly scared, so his manager tells him to wait for the police. However, John decides to enter the room anyway, and when he does, the screaming stops. But something even more bizarre happens that John doesn't even notice at the time. A white spirit appears to leave the room as if a ghost had just left. The scary apparition then fades into nothingness. John says nobody's in the room, but the furniture's been turned upside down and the carpet's even been ripped up. At this point, John and the manager are very scared and call the cops. And John even says he's officially freaked out. Despite this, John remains incredibly calm. This is because he probably thought some crazy person had broken in and ripped up the room. But after they checked the security cameras to see if anyone had entered the room, they saw this instead. Just imagine the heart-stopping moment when John found out the ghostly apparition had gone right past him. And ever since this video was released, guests at the Wingate Hotel avoid room 209. After seeing this footage, I sure would too.
John's gonna enter the room real quick just to check, make sure, see what's going on. Wait one.
Next up is cat burglar. So it's very scary getting burgled, but what's even scarier is getting burgled while you're in your house sleeping. Just imagine the uncomfortable feeling of knowing somebody was creeping around your house while you were in bed. Well, one instance of this was caught on camera, but it gets more creepy as you watch on. So one day a guy living alone in Queens, New York found his phone missing one morning. Now, he always puts his mobile phone on his dresser, so he knew something was wrong. That was when he checked his security camera and was terrified. Somebody had broken into his house and got into his room despite him being in it sleeping. Amazingly, this cat burglar didn't wake him up whatsoever. Either the guy's a heavy sleeper or this guy's very agile. They don't call them cat burglars for nothing. Anyway, the guy creeps around his floor before taking his phone and some money. Now, that's already enough to terrify anyone and make them very paranoid every time they go to sleep. But when the guy looked closer, he realized something more terrifying about the footage. In the cat burglar's mouth is a large blade. Who knows if the guy was really going to use this? But if he wasn't, why would he bring it? So maybe it's a good idea that this guy didn't wake up. Just imagine waking up and seeing a man with a blade in his mouth going through your stuff. Yeah, I'd probably be moving out of that place instantly. And I don't mean the house, I mean the entire country. You know what? I'd probably hop on the next SpaceX flight to Mars. Next up is dragged. So if you've seen any ghost videos, you know that most of them seem pretty peaceful. Just take the haunted hotel one from before, the ghost went right through John. Well, here's one instance of a very aggressive ghost. A man is walking down the hallway of a building. All is normal until suddenly a black apparition appears. The man then falls over and is dragged down the hallway. The apparition drags the guy for a few seconds until he gets back on his feet and runs off. That is when the apparition disappears. This clip is very scary, but many say it's fake. Some say the apparition could be clever editing. But how does that explain the guy's feet? Somebody said this could have been done by string, but not a string thin enough to not be seen on camera. It really is a mystery as to how this guy was pulled on video. You can tell he's not doing it himself from the footage. But in that case, who was doing it? Is this all edited with special effects and stunts? Or is this a real apparition appearing in a hallway? You be the judge. Next up is Tutorial Ghost. So this is another ghost clip. Now it's nothing too dramatic like a ghost tearing up a hotel room or dragging a man down a hallway. But in my opinion, the everyday nature of this clip makes it all the more scary. So one day a guy is recording a tutorial video for his art class. He's explaining the materials and paints he's gonna use. That is when all of a sudden the kitchen cupboard behind him opens out of nowhere. Now of course a cupboard opening doesn't even make too much noise, so he didn't turn around. However, that is when the cupboard closes suddenly. This creates a loud bang which makes him jump and turn around. He then investigates and looks around his kitchen as he thought a vermin could have got in. But as you can see from the footage, this is no rat and seems more like a ghost. To this day, the guy nor anyone who's seen the video knows what really happened. Could it have been a ghost or something else? It definitely wasn't a mouse or rat as the cupboard opened fully before it closed. But what do you think it was?
Some of the materials that you'll need to create a cover sheet are, of course, you'll need some scissors, you'll need some tape so that it's slightly longer than the mat board your artwork is mounted to.
Next up is Singapore Ghost. It was taken in an apartment complex on Jurong Road, Singapore. Now, the guy who owns the building was watching his surveillance footage. That was when all of a sudden he saw a bizarre spirit fly by. It went by so fast he had no idea what it was. However, when he saved the footage and slowed it down, he saw it was a small white figure. This has led some to say it could be the ghost of a child who passed away in the apartment complex. Now, you may be saying this seems very fake and could easily be edited, but watch closely and you'll see the ghost was going so fast it rustled coats on a nearby coat rack. So it's obvious something was there, otherwise these coats wouldn't have moved in the wind. Was this really the ghost of a child or something else? I know it seems very paranormal for a ghost to be caught on camera, but I can't come up with any other explanation. Let me know in the comments what you think this could have been. Next up is Castle Ghost. So one of the most notoriously haunted places are castles. And one of the most famously haunted castles in the world is actually near me, and it's called Dover Castle. One day in 2009, a guard spotted something strange. There appeared to be a black shadowy apparition floating in the sky. The guard said he simply saw it, but when he walked over to it, it was gone. However, a surveillance camera picked up what this guard didn't. The shadow appeared to fly underneath the guard and then fade away. Now, this clip would be very fake if it weren't for the guard. It's clear something was there in real life, otherwise the guard wouldn't have walked over to it. Seeing as this castle is kind of near me, maybe I should go there one day and try and catch a ghost on camera myself. Let me know in the comments if I should do that. And tell me what you think about this ghost caught on camera.
Yeah. Cool.
Next up is alien encounter. So we always hear about people having stories of alien encounters. Now most of the time people call these guys liars or crazy. But here's one instance of an alien encounter being caught on surveillance camera. One day at 11 AM a worker can be seen opening some kind of gate. There's then a sudden flash of light and the cameras all glitch out. 2 hours later at 1 AM this happens again and the guy reappears. However, this time he's on the floor and seems very disorientated. The man later claimed he didn't remember a thing, and afterwards he quit his job and moved far, far away. Now, it seems like he really was abducted by aliens, seeing as he was gone for 2 hours. And how else do you explain the flash and the camera glitches? And also, the guy said he didn't remember a thing, which is what many abductees say. Do you think this guy was really abducted by aliens, or did something else happen here? The flash and camera glitch could be explained by some kind of lightning strike, but that wouldn't explain why the guy vanished or why he couldn't remember anything about what happened that night. Next up is Nightcrawlers. So we've seen a lot of very paranormal and ghostly videos on this list, but this one is actually the most paranormal. One day a couple saw something strange on the security camera in their backyard. They saw some unidentified creatures which they later found out were Nightcrawlers. Now, Nightcrawlers are said to be monsters which are heads which go directly into legs. They walk around at night and are very hard to find, but it seems like they really were caught on tape here. Check out the footage and let me know if you think these are real Nightcrawlers or not. It definitely looks realistic, but let me know your thoughts. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for the scariest surveillance footage. And if you want something less scary, check out my second channel. There'll be a link to that on screen in a moment. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what you're waiting for, subscribe to Top 10s.